Now on The Flash, I'm very pleased to say that I'm joined by Amanda Whiteland-Smith, who is from Citizens Advice in Havant. Hello to you.
Hello.
Now, first of all, tell us how this situation with coronavirus has affected your organisation and how you operate.
Well, we had hoped that we'd be able to keep a face-to-face service running, but it became clear at the end of last week that all of our venues were closing down and that we really had to move to a telephone and email only service. Luckily our volunteers stepped up to the mark, and we've got about 14 advisors who felt happy to take equipment from the main office, and we've got everybody set up working from home.
Well, okay, so every single one of your advisors is actually working from their own separate homes.
The ones that we've got working, we've got a few that couldn't manage the technology or didn't have a private space, so confidentiality is really important to us, so people had to have a private space they could work in their own home to be able to help with this.
One of the strange things about the situation that we find ourselves in is the fact that we have a situation whereby we have a lot of people out there who need help, a lot of people out there who are desperately after advice, but it's become that little bit harder for organisations like even us at the Flash radio station and yourselves to actually give that service. So you've had to sort of totally readapt the way that you work and operate in order to keep going. But I'm very, very pleased to hear that you are very much keeping going, and I would imagine that you're very busy as well.
We seem to be. We're covering a Hampshire-wide line that people can dial into. What we're not seeing is very many inquiries through our website, so we would encourage local people to come through our website. We can either arrange to call people back through the contact us on the website, or there are direct email inquiry lines, forms they can fill in to give some more specifics about the information they're requesting. So we're quite surprised that the website's quiet. The phone lines do seem to be busier.
I'm very surprised about that, I must say. Just give us an idea of the kind of advice that people are seeking from you at the moment.
Okay, so not surprisingly, most of it, although not all of it, relates to the coronavirus and the impact that's having on people's lives. We've seen a lot of employment inquiries around things like furloughing and not being able to go into work because of childcare. The type of issues that have been coming out in the press really have been the type of things that have been presenting to us. We've seen heard from a number of people who are really concerned about how they're going to manage to pay their ongoing commitments, the rent, and what help might be available through the benefits system. So those are probably the two biggest areas. We've had a few people wanting to know how they can link into the support if they're perhaps shielding or in a vulnerable situation. Seems to be a bit of a postcode lottery. Some areas are really well organised. Hayling Island, for example, seems to have managed to get notices out to virtually every resident about where help is available. Not so true of other areas and haven't.
Very much developing, isn't it?
Absolutely, and we found that in the last week that you're thinking on your feet, you're having to adapt. How can we manage that service? What resources have we got? And I'm sure that's going through all the organisations, both statutory and voluntary.
Of course, what we've been doing here at The Flash is really encouraging anybody that wants to become a volunteer to help out, or anybody that wants to set up some kind of a group to support people who are self-isolating and are feeling vulnerable at the moment, to get in contact with Community First and register themselves there. And then Community First is then passing on the details to us so we can promote the groups once they're organised. But I have noticed that there are some areas, as you say, that are very, very well organised and very well catered for, and others that are still very much finding their feet at the moment. Because you've got some of your volunteers who are not able to operate at the moment from home. So just give us a run through of a kind of advice that you are able to offer at the moment.
So we've been doing, we've been helping out with help to claim. So Citizens Advice runs a national universal credit help to claim helpline, but we also have workers who have been based in the job centre. Now that the job centre is closed face-to-face, they are helping people with making claims online, so they're actually talking them through the online process, which for some people has been quite daunting. They may not have had their own email address and some of the other things that they need to get set up first of all, but we can literally talk them through the claim process, which is a big advantage because claiming by phone has been one of the bottlenecks that's been quite apparent recently.
Yes.
We we're very concerned about scams awareness as well at the moment, because there's been a few sort of horror stories of people jumping on the bandwagon and sort of perhaps offering services that aren't really there and charging for them.
As this situation goes on and as people are out work for longer, there may be an increasing need to make people aware of possible scams that are going on in the communities.
Yeah, we have there's a free national number for scams helpline, which people can call to check out whether what they're being offered is a legitimate service. We've got a number for those. We've got quite a few different numbers that we can give you for people to call. So I suppose the first one that we would give out would be the local advice line number, which is a Hampshire number, which is 03 444 111 444. And that's a general advice line number across Hampshire. And we're forming part of the team by manning that service across Hampshire. We are actually able to answer people's calls quicker. There is the scams helpline, which I think is a really important one for people to know. That's a free phone. So that's 0808 250 5050.
Right, okay. Well, thank you ever so much for your time, Amanda, and thank you for all the fantastic work that you're doing at Citizens Advice in Havant. And for any listeners out there who need advice, how's the best way of them getting in contact?
To contact us, we would recommend locally that people use our website. The website is citizensadvicehavant.org. If they go to the website, there are two ways of contacting us. If they do the Get Advice, go to the area of advice that they want and scroll down to the bottom. There's a web form that they can complete with their details. Or if it's more of a general inquiry, if they go via the Contact Us and leave their telephone number or give a general idea of what information they're needing, we'll either call back or email a response back to the information that's been asked for.
Okay,
we've got quite a good turnaround. We're looking at turning those around. We haven't got people working at the weekends, but we'd expect to have that back to people within 24 hours.
Okay, that's brilliant. Well, thank you ever so much for spending some time with us today, Amanda, and thank you for all that you're doing at Citizens Advice. And what we will be doing here at The Flash is producing a 30-second commercial for Citizens Advice in Havant, which will be going out once every 4 hours after our news at the top of the hour. Anyway, Amanda, thank you ever so much for joining us today, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you, and stay well.